The sky outside was dark, cloaked in heavy clouds that refused to let the moonlight shine through. A quiet drizzle tapped against the window of an old, two-story house nestled deep in the Oregon woods. The wind whispered to the towering pines like an omen, making the trees sway and creak as if trying to warn someone. Inside, 29-year-old Ethan Whitaker was settling into bed. He had moved into the house only 2 weeks ago, trying to get away from the city noise and start over after a painful breakup. The place had been listed for cheap, and its remoteness had appealed to him. No neighbors for miles. No distractions. Just peace. Or so he thought. Ethan closed the book he had been reading and turned off the bedside lamp. Darkness swallowed the room instantly. He lay back, staring at the ceiling he could no longer see. The rain outside continued its gentle rhythm, and the occasional thunderclap rolled across the mountains in the distance. Then he heard it, a soft creaking sound. Not the wind this time. This came from inside the house. He froze, holding his breath. The sound came again. It was the floorboards. Someone, or something, was walking down the hallway. He sat up, heart pounding. He grabbed his phone from the nightstand, turning on the flashlight. He tiptoed out of the bedroom. The wood floor cool under his bare feet. He peeked into the hallway. Empty, but the noise continued. He followed the sound slowly, flashlight flicking nervously across the walls. The hallway ended in a staircase that led down to the living room. As he descended, the old wooden steps groaned under his weight, but he could still hear the separate, distinct sound of another set of footsteps walking ahead of him. When he reached the bottom, the room was dark and cold. He aimed the flashlight at the front door. It was still locked. He scanned the living room. Nothing. Silence now. The footsteps had stopped. He turned back toward the kitchen when something made him stop. A photo on the wall was upside down. He was sure he hadn't touched it. He walked closer to fix it, but a sudden gust of freezing air blew through the room, making him gasp. The back door was wide open. He rushed over and slammed it shut, locking it tight. The wind outside howled angrily. His flashlight flickered for a moment, and in that brief stutter of light, he thought he saw something standing at the edge of the tree line, a tall, thin silhouette. But when the beam steadied again, it was gone. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Ethan convinced himself it was just a nightmare, a trick of the light, and stress messing with his mind. He went about his day, fixing things around the house, and chopping wood for fireplace. But something felt off. The birds were unusually silent. The wood seemed too still. That evening, as he was cooking dinner, he found a muddy footprint on the kitchen floor, one that didn't match his boots. It was bare and long. He cleaned it up quickly, trying not to panic. He double-checked all the locks and even placed a chair under the doorknob in his bedroom, just in case. Midnight came. Ethan tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Every sound made him flinch. Then, just as he was drifting off, he heard it again, the creaking footsteps. But this time, they didn't stop in the hallway. They came right up to his bedroom door. He sat up, breathing heavily. The doorknob jiggled. He whispered who's there, but got no reply. The silence that followed was more terrifying than any scream. Then, the door slowly opened. Nothing was there, just an empty hallway. But the temperature in the room plummeted. He could see his breath. And then came the smell, rotting earth, mold, and something metallic like blood. Ethan didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, he called the real estate agent. She insisted that no one had lived there for years before him, and no one had the keys but him. She sounded concerned but not surprised. When he pressed her, she finally said there were rumors about the house, that it was cursed, but those were just stories, local folklore. Ethan hung up. That night, things got worse. The moment he turned off the light, whispers filled the room. Soft, unintelligible murmurs, like a conversation just out of reach. He turned the light back on. Silence. He tried again. Darkness. Whispers. He left the light on all night. By the third night, he had set up cameras in the hallway and living room. He needed to know if he was going crazy. Around 3 a.m., he was awakened by the sound of footsteps again, but this time, They were running, sprinting back and forth across the house. He huddled under the covers, clutching a kitchen knife. The next morning, he reviewed the footage. His blood turned to ice. In the hallway footage, at exactly 3:02 a.m., a dark figure crawled out of the attic trapdoor. It had long limbs, matted hair, and pale, cracked skin. It moved with a jerky, spider-like gait. It stood in front of his bedroom door for nearly 30 minutes, unmoving. Then it turned and crawled back into the attic. Ethan didn't wait. He packed a bag and got in his truck. As he drove away, he looked in the rearview mirror and swore he saw something standing in the upstairs window, watching him. He stayed in a motel in town that night. Just before dawn, there was a knock at his door. He looked through the peephole. No one there. But on the floor outside, muddy footprints. Bare. Long. Ethan drove 3 states away. Changed his number. Never told anyone what happened. But some nights when he tries to sleep, he hears the floorboards creak. Even in buildings that aren't made of wood. And sometimes just before drifting off, he swears he can hear those whispers again.